Broadcasting live from the Conqueror's Foothold on the plain of Ixalan. This is Tap Tap Concede. Good afternoon or morning or evening, everyone. I'm Cameron.
I'm Serge.
And we're going to talk to you today about our Ixalan pre-release experience. But first of all, we want to send out a very big thank you to all of you, our supporters over at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Your very kind support makes all of this content possible. Thank you. Also, we want to send a big thanks out to our sponsors over at CardKingdom.com. CardKingdom.com. Buy their stuff so they'll continue to pay us.
Super honest.
Yeah.
Love it.
We wouldn't accept their sponsorship if we didn't think that they were like a great place to buy your cards. They really are. Their shipment is really fast, like faster than you think. Their selection is great. You can bug them for custom tokens and well, one custom token, probably. Don't push your luck, and if you do, don't tell them I sent you.
But Cam said no.
Yeah. And if you say in your special field, Loading Ready Run sent me button, please, they will send you a copy of this month's little button, which reads strictly medium.
That's us.
Yep. We're functional reprints of previously existing playables in draft, maybe. Yeah.
I love that. I'm a bomb and limited. What? Don't worry about it.
Anyway, shall we get onto the Crack-A-Pack?
I love it.
We have one of Serge's prize packs here. Serge prized, because he's a big deal.
Whoa, spoiler. No.
Here,
Yeah.
you do the honors. It's your pack.
How do you crack packs? Do you have a special technique? I've always been a peel and then rip sort of person.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When I'm feeling like really fancy, sometimes I inflate it a little bit by like pulling on the tab, and then you clap it.
All right, so we have marker card treasure token.
Ooh.
Let's start us off. Ryle, our first common.
This seems like an unexciting way of triggering Enrage, but like it has a lot of good words on it, right? Like trigger Enrage,
and draw
trample,
a card.
and draw a card.
Yeah. I think it depends on which enrage creatures you have. At first, I thought this was absolute, like, just pass it every time. But if you have the 6-mana 5/4 that, does 3 damage to them, or the one that draws a card, or the one that, like, grows your whole team, Ryle can be actually more real than I thought it would be. I assumed it was forgettable. This is one of those cards that I evaluated in a vacuum and thought was toilets. And then I saw in play and was like, maybe this is a 23rd card.
Right. Okay, fair. Bishop Soldier. This guy actually kind of impresses me.
Yeah.
2/2 for lifelink, Vampire Soldier for 1 and a white. Bear with upside.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Super awesome. And maybe relevant tribe. We'll see. I think you play it anyways.
There is a couple of there is at least one card that counts the number of vampires on the field when it drains.
Vampire Gary or whatever.
Yeah, Vampire Gary, and then there's also Vampire Hellrider.
Yeah. No, I totally play this card if you're in white. I don't think of many situations where you wouldn't. March of the Drowned is a 1-mana sorcery. Oh, sorry?
Oh, no, sorry, go ahead.
So, single black sorcery. Choose one. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Or, return 2 target pirates from your graveyard to your hand.
I love this card.
Do you?
I'll play one of it in a pirate deck. Absolutely. What if you could play Divination for 1 mana that drew you two good cards, your 2 best cards?
Sure. Yeah, okay.
It feels really good to like throw a couple of pirates into combat, they trade, then you get them back, and then play them back with raid triggers.
I suppose, a lot of them have raid or ETBs, so no, okay, cool. I had overlooked that.
Like if you get the guy that makes your opponent pitch a card when he ETBs on raid, you can wind up like, it's difficult to evaluate with discard, but it does feel like a 2-for-1, 3-for-1 kind of situation.
Huh. All right, I might be warming up to this card.
Yeah, if you're in the pirate deck, I think you want to play one of them.
Next up, we have the Nest Robber, which is a 2-mana dinosaur for 1 and a red. It has haste. Putting aside whether this card is good or not, I just love this card. I love the art. I love that it's stealing stuff. It makes me really happy. And it's fine, and I totally would have died to one of these if my opponent had one earlier today, but that's a story for later.
Yeah, I love the expression on its face where it's like, you made this?
Mine.
I made this.
Mine.
Mine. Yeah, it seems fine if you've got a lot of the humans that care if dinosaurs exist.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Can I just say, I wish there was a mount mechanic in this set, much like vehicles, and you could have humans that just ride dinosaurs. I'm really sad that it's not there. I don't know how you make a dinosaur that wasn't a creature, but that would just be so sweet.
Yeah. I mean, they must have kicked one around and eventually were just like, guys, these are vehicles. These are just vehicles. These are creature vehicles. And no, we're not having another one of these mechanics.
I think that's fire.
Prosperous Pirates. For a 5-mana, 3/4 human pirate, 4 and a blue, they come with 2 treasure token artifacts when they enter the battlefield. They're better than you think. They're not spectacular, but coming with 2 treasures is not nothing in this format.
Pirates are probably my favorite tribe in Ixalan, and going into it, I didn't think I would say that, but treasure is so much fun.
Yeah.
Acceleration, I just love it. And 3/4 for 5 is not great, but there are a bunch of like treasures matter cards, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Also, just being able to like fix your mana really easily.
Yep.
Like green or blue-black now has mana fixing.
Yeah, shocking, and ramp.
Also, 4 toughness, real in this format.
So real in this format. There's so many 3/4s, and if you're playing an aggressive deck, you just look at that 4-power booty, and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
That's an odd way to express that, but moving on.
Say no to the 4-power booty.
I'd like to introduce you to the Deeproot Warrior. It's a Moorfolk Warrior. It's 1 and a green for a 2/2. Whenever Deeproot Warrior becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn, otherwise known as Bushido.
But it's not Bushido because it's only when it's blocked, not when it's blocking.
Oh, was it both ways for that set? Oh, no kidding.
Everyone who I've said, oh, it's got Bushido, they're like, well, actually, no, it's not Bushido.
And
so I've never played Kamigawa Limited, so I've never played anything with Bushido before in my life, because the only thing out of Kamigawa that gets play is
GJ.
Yeah, GJ.
And top.
And you know, like
fun cards, fun, balanced, fair cards.
Yeah, and then there's like the Ritual, and then there's the Magma Jet.
The Hundens are kind of sweet.
Yeah,
I haven't seen enough play, but man, that's a digression.
Just random slams on Kamigawa out of nowhere over here. Just
yeah. Again, bear with upside seems fine. Merfolk Tribe, I'd like to touch on more later. Don't love it, but that could just be me.
I think maybe in draft.
Yeah, if the professor is watching, I'm sorry in advance. Don't hurt me.
Siren Lookout. I'm really torn on the Explore guys because, excuse me, they feel underpowered for their mana cost if you don't get the +1/+1 counter on them. If I'm paying 3 mana for a 1/2, I want something more than flying and it drawing me a land.
Interesting. Yeah, I suppose you're often counting on it actually getting that +1/+1 counter, and when it doesn't, you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Have you ever hoped that Explorer drew you a land? Because I can't actually think of a situation where I was like, oh good, I actually hit the land off Explorer. I kind of always want it to be the +1/+1 counter.
Yeah, I'm sure there are situations where I have. No, wait. No, there hasn't. There hasn't been a single one. I'm sure people out there do.
Yeah, I was playing a green-red like big idiot deck today, and I was playing a bunch of Explorer creatures, and every time I cast it on curve, because I was trying to be the aggressor, I always wanted the +1/+1 counter. Even when I was missing land, I was like, man, I need this 2/2 to be a 3/3 so I can block.
I mean, like, the most interesting version of it is the one that I've used the least, which is where you look at the top card, you get the +1/+1 counter, and then you put it into the bin.
Yep.
I haven't done that yet. I've always like...
You're like, I want this card.
Yeah. So maybe I'm just doing it wrong. I'm willing to admit that I'm doing it wrong.
I mean, I guess drawing a land isn't the worst because you're drawing a card. That's a free card, and that should be an advantage. And maybe they're like, Serge, you're being an idiot. You just get to draw a card for free. What's wrong with you? And you're like, oh, right. Maybe I'm being foolish there.
Yeah, I mean...
when is playing a card and drawing a card bad? Okay, maybe,
Yeah, maybe we're just being too hard on it. Also, the Pirate deck is desperate for flyers.
There's the 1 mana, the 2 mana 1/2 that has Raid.
At uncommon.
That's what I want Siren Lookout to be, is that one. That card is incredible.
Yeah.
And every time you cast this instead, you're like, it's my, oh. All right. Next up, though, we have the Ravenous Daggertooth. This is one of the enraged dinosaurs. And I love the dinosaurs as well. Not as much as pirates, but I love dinosaurs. So Ravenous Daggertooth, 2 and a green for a 3/2 dinosaur. Enrage. Whenever it is dealt damage, gain 2 life. Not my favorite of the enraged ones, but it's fine, and it
Yeah.
adds up quickly.
Yeah, like my experience with this was that it blocked one of my pirates, traded with the pirate, and got them 2 life. And that's fine if you're up against the tempo deck.
It almost seems like its enrage ability and its power and toughness are in conflict with each other. Like if it was a 2/3 and it gained 2 life, you'd be like, that makes a lot of sense. But being
Yeah.
a 3/2, because it wants to be aggressive, yet gains you life, which is fine. It's just kind of interesting.
Dive down. Don't like it.
I actually agree. I was going to be like, hey, would you ever play this? Like, do you even bring this in against... So the reason I don't like this is best case scenario, you get to dodge removal. But unlike other combat tricks, it's very hard to actually trade a card with this unless you're setting your opponent up to 1-for-1 with a creature, and then you're like, oops, no, you actually get to 1-for-1 with dive down instead.
With a dive down instead of my creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think it often sets up things that are aggressive. It's always defensive, and it's kind of hard to win when you're on the back foot like that.
Yeah, especially when your combat tricks are 1-for-1ing instead of 2-for-1ing your opponent. Colossal Dreadmaw. This seems like your bread and butter dinosaur.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
This is what I would have imagined a dinosaur to look like when this set was pitched. Okay, so there's going to be like, what, a 6/6 trample T-Rex, probably, for 6? Does that sound right? And yeah, here it is.
I love the art.
It's a big boy.
I love that the focus of the picture is a boat, and the dinosaur's like, hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah. Like, what is that? What is the... Oh, it's my meal.
All right, our first uncommon is Favorable Winds, which is a 2-mana blue enchantment for 1 in the blue. Creatures you control with flying get +1/+1.
Build around it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's tough. If you're the deck that wants this card, you love it. Otherwise, it does pretty
Like,
stone nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
This thing trashes pirates. Let me tell you what happens. Your opponent resolves this, wipes out 3 of your pirates, and the next turn kills another pirate.
sorry, what card are we talking about?
Raging Swordtooth, 3 red green, 5/5. It's a dinosaur. It tramples, and when Raging Swordtooth enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each other creature.
And then relevant on that with each is if you're playing the dinosaur deck, it might even trigger your own enrage and give you a bunch of extra value. This
Yeah.
thing is nuts.
Yeah, this will single-handedly, like, when that resolves, the game is happening.
Yeah.
The game is on.
So the difference between an excellent card and a build-around card. So Raging Sawtooth, we're like, yeah, and then Favorable Winds, you're just like, it's risky.
Okay, I've got like 4 other flyers. It's probably okay.
All right.
I mean, that guy's interesting, the Sawtooth, because he is he's obviously a dinosaur card. But you know, he does hurt your team. But if you're playing the dinosaur deck, you don't really have anybody with 1 toughness anyway. So
There's
Yeah.
one dinosaur, I believe.
Well,
it's an uncommon. It's a 3/1 in white.
Well, there's also Nest Robber.
all right, that's
Oh, okay.
There's
But no,
no-
I
there's a
understand.
like, there's a
But
little-
anyway,
Thematically.
Yeah.
but you know, it's the whole symmetrical effects are fair thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like the just because it's doing damage to both people doesn't mean that.
Yeah, the end result isn't fair. You also
Like,
have
can
this
you
5/5
imagine
after.
playing this into that the 3/3 uncommon white dinosaur that buffs your team as its enraged trigger?
Oh my goodness.
It just gives counters.
That thing is so devastating to play against because
Yeah.
you're facing down, I think it's a 3/5. Again, just like this
Right.
enormous booty. And you look at it and you're like, I have to trade 3 cards for this, which means you're probably going to get probably 2 enraged triggers off it, like combat and then a combat trick. So not only am I down 3 cards for your 1, your whole team is now enormous. Just like this is just miserable.
The only thing about that card that makes it even remotely not terrifying is that the dinosaur player is probably fighting with a vampire player for it.
Yeah, no kidding. How large are the dinosaurs in this set? They seem to always be towering above the trees.
Yeah.
Like, how do they get enough food?
Maybe Ixalan must be like, maybe there's one of these guys per like 50 square kilometers of Ixalan.
Sure. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of apex predators in this world.
Yeah, really. This whole place is falling apart now that we scrutinize it just a little bit.
It's fine. There's big dinosaurs. They feed on mana. They only eat people for fun.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, according to the cards, there's nobody for the pirates to actually, like where are the pirates getting their booty from? The dinosaurs?
Right. Yeah.
They make it out of the scales. Vampires have a long history of treasure.
Oh, that's true. It's true. So the dinosaurs or the vampires are attacking the pirates.
Look, Paul, it's gold bordered. That dinosaur is made out of solid cash.
Yeah.
That's where they
It's
get the
gold
treasure
right
from.
there.
So there has to be a human population for the pirates to draw from.
Yeah, to recruit from.
But apparently they're not doing well enough to do much else. Oh, no, there's a whole tribe of humans who ride dinosaurs.
Yeah,
The sun people.
Yeah, we need a bunch of humans
What are they,
for
the Otapek Empire?
Yeah, we need a bunch of humans for the pirates to draw from, for the vampires to eat,
Yeah.
for the dinosaurs to eat,
And for the merfolk to inspire legend and fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, we just need like a ton of cattle
They're
humans.
just farming people.
Yeah.
Man, Ixalan sucks. All right, our last uncommon. Bam. I have not seen this card.
I was skeptical of this. There's a lot of 3 toughness in this format.
Yeah, so Dark Nourishment is a 5-mana black instant spell for 4 and a black. Deals 3 damage to target creature or player relevant, and you gain 3 life.
Yeah.
Huh.
Also, demons confirmed on Ixalan due to the flavor text.
Interesting. Cool. I mean, removal, always great. Instant speed, even better. And the fact that, okay, might go to the dome just for that last little bit to finish stuff off.
Yep.
This is like the equivalent of Blackburn. All right. Time for a rare. You're gonna try and no scope this?
What's up, Watley?
Watley. Interesting. And oh, I missed the table. The answer is the Regisaur Alpha.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Big Daddy Dinosaur.
No.
Regisaur Alpha is a 5-mana dinosaur for 3 red-green. Other dinosaurs you control have haste. When it enters the battlefield, you get a 3/3 dinosaur token with trample. Also has haste as a result of the Regisaur Alpha, and it's a 4/4. This thing is nuts.
No, I don't like it. I don't like it. No.
You don't like 7 power for 5?
Yeah.
Half of it coming at you immediately?
No.
Half round down?
No, I'd rather not. I'd rather not play against this.
Yeah. There's the dream of Naya Dinosaur deck in Limited is to have this as your top end. And actually, this pack, oh my goodness, if you're the Dinosaur deck in this pack, you've got, well, Nest Robber already has it. You have, do we have anything we care about in Rage with? All right, let's ignore Ryle. We have Nest Robber into Ravenous Daggertooth, into the Raging Swordtooth, and finally you have the Regisaur Alpha at the top of the food chain here.
Yeah.
This is
No.
oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about the Colossal Dreadmaw. Like, this is almost enough.
You forgot about Dread.
How could I?
It was right there. I had to do it. You all saw. You all saw. I had to take it.
This is a good dino pack.
Yeah, the problem is I think the 4 people to your left are going to be in dinosaurs.
Yeah, but you have the Alpha.
Yeah, fair enough. That means they have to give you all their dinosaurs.
So if this is a limited deck, they have to. You're like, I'm the Alpha. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it says right here,
Yeah,
guys.
you pass it to the person beside you, and you're like, I'm the Alpha. And they're like, well, damn, I guess I only have 8 cards in this pack to pick from. So if this is sealed, you're laughing. You are already on the way to put together just an insane deck. If you're drafting this, I can't imagine a world where you take the Raging Sawtooth over the Alpha.
I can't, no.
Any argument to be made for any other first pick other than the Alpha?
It's so good.
Yeah.
I love that we have a name like Tyrannosaurus Rex is like Tyrant Lizard King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet it's still now this is a Regisaur.
Yeah.
So this is a King Dinosaur.
Alpha
King Dinosaur.
Alpha King Dinosaur. It's like that character Beach made up for the Sentai villain thing on Loading Ready Live a few weeks ago. King Lord Sovereign.
Yeah.
That's basically Tyrannosaurus Rex, right?
That's such a good name.
Tyrannosaurus Rex Alpha.
Well, that concludes our pack.
Yeah.
This is a spicy pack.
So
this is my pack.
it is your pack.
I guess I'm a
Congratulations.
proud owner of Regisaur Alpha.
Is that a pack that you would have liked to open today at the?
This would have been insane for my deck because I'm actually red-green dinosaurs. This is less exciting for Highlander, but so it goes.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to talk about your record first? Or
Let's start with you.
Okay, so I
What was your deck?
I was in blue-black pirates.
Nice.
As you might be surprised to hear.
Love it.
I like the pirates in this deck, or in this format. I really like tempo. I really like the ETB triggers. I like the encouragement to attack.
Yeah,
via
with raid. Nice.
It encourages an aggressive, interactive style of play that I thought was a lot of fun. And I got crushed. Just utterly crushed. I went 1-3-1. It was bad. I tied in round 1 because my opponent had the compass.
The round 1 draw.
Round 1 draw.
Nice.
Opponent had the compass that flips into Mazavith.
Feels
And
good.
our games were
On turn 7 as well.
on turn 7 as well, which is fine because turns 1 through 6 were the great pageant of the centipede with death touch versus dinosaurs without trample. So we were just like, draw a land, play a land, go. Draw a land, play a land, go. Mazavith flips. Now I super can't attack.
Oh, man.
And what I was really, really, really looking forward to being able to do to the compass, check this out. If you get the chance to do this, let me know. The compass, what is it called? It's a rare, it has...
Is it thaumatic thingy?
Yeah.
Mystery?
Thematic compass. Basically, 3 mana, tap it, search your library for a basic land, put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Only, what if, in response, you run aground the compass in response to the shuffle trigger?
When they go to draw it, yeah, they put the whole thing. I'd like to draw a land and shuffle everything. You're like, sure, that ability on the stack. See ya.
Yeah, put the compass on top of their library, then they can search their library for their basic land and shuffle it away. That would have been amazing if that had happened.
Unfortunately, this doesn't answer it once it turns into a land.
No, no. Once it turns into a land, you're bricked.
This is a good card, by the way.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
So you played blue-black, something similar in the pre-release.
Yes, and in the pre-release, I did quite well. As it turns out, I was missing quite a few of the moving pieces in this deck. The Merfolk, the 3-mana Merfolk that taps something down, that frosts something when they enter the battlefield.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're called Frost. They're Merfolk reprint of Frostlings. Did not have any of those.
Okay, that's such a good tempo play as well if you're trying to sneak through damage.
Outstanding tempo
And
play.
if you're raid and you're being rewarded for attacking, having something to make the math more in your favor, the tempo more in your favor makes a bunch of sense.
I did not have I only had 1 Skymarch Bloodletter. Also
That
known
card's
as
really good.
Windrake with upside.
Yeah.
Because black gets Windrake now. Only it drains when it enters the battlefield. Sure. I had 2 of them in my pre-release deck and only 1 here. As it turns out, they're also very, very good cards.
Flying matters when the ground is clogged up with dinosaurs.
Absolutely. And I will tell you now that I lost basically every match in which my opponent had flyers. Because looking back at this now, I just don't have any way of interacting anything that's not on the ground. If my opponent played the blue aura, the +2/+2 flying aura,
really good.
as it turns out, yeah,
What's that
the
card
conventional
called?
wisdom is that you don't play those kinds of things because you're inviting the 2
You're
for
going to
1.
get 2 for 1,
Yeah,
unless...
you're frequently inviting the 2 for 1.
Oh,
Unless your opponent does not have
just so happens I had to
just does not have the removal in hand. Then
1 with the wind.
1 with the wind. Also, Mark of the Vampire.
Mark of the Vampire is tough because it's 4 mana.
It's 4 mana, +2/+2 and lifelink. On a flyer, crushed me in my last match.
Oh, yeah.
When your opponent's like, all right, I've got this 3-power flyer, or this 2-power flyer, I'm going to equip the Prybar sword to it, so it's making treasure when it hits you, and I'm going to put Mark of the Vampire on it, and I'm like, I need a removal spell, or I'm dead to Baneslayer Angel, actually, that ramps.
I saw, there's that risky pirate. It's the 4/3 for 2.
Yeah.
That even in its flavor text says it's probably not worth it. I saw somebody slam that on turn 2 and 1 with the wind on it in turn 3 and be like, take 6 in the air on turn 3.
Yeah, and they're just like, kapow.
Yeah, and there's very little removal in this set that it's just like, die.
Yeah.
A lot of it is burned, slow amounts of it. Even the black removal is drain stuff.
Well, like, there's contract killing, which I had one of.
You want to put that one on the reader?
And this is a really good. I like this quite a lot as a limited removal spell. I think there was several years ago there was a 5-mana instant speed. I think it was instant speed, hard kill anything spell in black that gave you 3 black mana.
I want to say maybe an Innistrad, but I could just be making that up.
I think it was like M13.
Okay.
I like this a lot more. The flexibility of the treasure artifacts.
Use it whatever you want. Yeah.
Use it whatever you want for whatever color you want. Much stronger. I think this is a very good card. But if your opponent doesn't have this, sometimes you just die to auras, as it turns out.
The Water Tap Weaver was the, or Water Trap Weaver was the.
Oh, the Merfolk.
The Frost guy.
If you're going to be playing the blue X tempo deck, these guys are really important. I would rank these. You can't have enough Water Trap Weavers in this set, I think. What else? There were games where I was just able to be like 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, swing, 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 bounce something, kill something, swing, swing, and the opponent never got off the back foot.
Yeah, just live the tempo dream.
Yeah, and in the matches where I did not do that, I died horribly over the course of like probably about 20 to 30 turns. It was awful.
So something I've experienced in pre-releases are if you have bomb rares, you're just like, well, okay, the deck kind of makes itself. Just support these until I land my bomb and then just win with bomb. If you don't have any bombs, you're often left with I have to make as fast a deck as possible and keep them off tempo and kill them before they resolve their bomb. And the problem with that list and with tempo in general is if you don't control the tempo, it's very hard to seize it. How do you stabilize if you're behind? If your opponent stabilizes, how do you get that edge again to keep them on their back foot? And that can be hard.
Like the tempo deck, in order to maintain that tempo, is spending a lot of cards to do it.
Yeah.
And your opponent is just inevitably drawing towards their bomb. And when their bomb hits, if they're not dead, then you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I did have some fairly good cards in this deck.
What were your rares?
Well, Deadeye Tracker.
What do you think of this?
Foil. When he was good, he was good. When the opponent versus the other pirate deck, which is spending a lot of cards, like when it's casting Opt, when it's trading off its pirates, this guy's really good when he has fuel to work with. This is how I want to be exploring.
I wish this card didn't tap. If this was just like a slightly more expensive Scavenging Ooze, it makes it so, like what Scavenging Ooze lets you do, Scavenging Ooze is a 2-mana 2/2 from M13, and originally I think a Commander deck.
Commander, I think.
Yeah, so 2/2 for 2. For green, exile a card in opponent's graveyard. If it's a creature, gain a life and put a +1/+1 counter on it. So they're somewhat thematically related. What Scavenging Ooze lets you do is keep mana up and attack, and then you have the option to eat creatures in order to make combat math more complicated. Deadeye Tracker doesn't give you that advantage because you have to tap it as a result. So
so this guy, like, if you want to do that, you have to be blocking with him.
Yeah.
What I really wanted to do with this guy. And you'll notice this is no longer in my main deck because this was terrible, and I wanted it to happen, but it was never going to happen.
I see where you're going with this.
Chupa Thingy.
What?
Whenever a creature you control explores... hold on. Lurking Chupacabra, 3 and a black. Creature, Beast Horror. It is a 2/3. Whenever a creature you control explores, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn.
I
Wouldn't
love
this.
this.
Have been amazing?
I love this.
Yeah, it's like, all right, blow away your graveyard. Chupa Thingy is now, like, kills one of your dudes. Do you know how much 3 toughness there is in this format?
Huh.
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
I just can't get over the fact you called it Chupa Thingy. That makes me really happy.
References from '98.
Yeah, I mean, Lurking Chupa Thingy is also just a really solid card. 4-mana 2/3, there's a couple of those in the set, and they're fine. In the right deck, this thing is nuts. Yeah, I don't think you auto-include it, but if you have enough Explorer, you just love it.
Yeah, like
I'm sorry, I'm sad you couldn't live the Dream Cam. I'm
wanted
sad
to.
you couldn't live the Deadeye Navigator Chupa Thingy combo.
I had them both on the battlefield at once, and my opponent was just like, "Okay, I just will make sure nothing ever goes to my graveyard."
You're like, oh.
I guess that is a kind of thing that you can control. If I can't get this
Going, then I just have overcosted, underpowered. No.
Yeah, no. But one guy who really did impress me was Fathom Fleet Captain.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you had so many little aggressive rares.
Yeah, I really like this guy. Fathom Fleet Captain is a 1 and a black, 2/1 human pirate with menace. Whenever Fathom Fleet Captain attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, you may pay 2 generic mana. If you do, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with menace. If you've ever played against menace, you know that menace is at its best when you have a lot of menace.
Yep.
And this guy makes a lot of menace.
It makes sense why you're asking for pirate tokens now.
Yeah. Well, and especially like playing the turn 1 Siren Storm Tamer, who is a Siren Pirate Wizard.
That is a mouthful.
Siren Pirate Wizard. Into Fathom Fleet Captain feels really good because then you control another non-token pirate, and then you're able to like do that on turn 3, and you've made a body, and then you feel really good, and your opponent's like, cool, ramp into giant dinosaur, and you're like, that's fair, I lose.
They're just like Raging Sword Tooth, do 1 damage to all your X1s.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Just sob.
yeah, just you run off and cry yourself to sleep.
Yeah. For those of you listening and not seeing that, Cam just mimed eating his entire deck. But it's fine.
Yeah.
You had some cool cards.
I definitely did have some cool cards. Opt is amazing. Opt is way better when you have good cards to draw in your deck. In Limited, card draw is only as good as the best cards in your deck.
Yep.
Right? If you're drawing into more 2/2s for 3, card draw is probably not the greatest. When you're drawing into bombs, it's amazing.
Yeah, you're like, man, this is so good. You're like,
Yeah. But yeah, I think I had the problem where it just didn't get there. Sleek Schooner, I love.
This
4/3 Emma from the pre-release.
Yeah.
Called this Fixed Renegade Freighter from Kaladesh.
Cool.
I agree.
This card's really cool.
It doesn't trample. Renegade Freighter probably shouldn't have trampled because it was a first pickable, like uncommon in that set that didn't prescribe your colors at all.
Yeah. And on theme in the pirate deck.
Yeah. I really like Sleek Schooner. I think it's
was running
excellent
as well.
It turns on a couple of your Artifact Cares things.
Yeah.
And then the other guy that really impressed me, Deadeye Plunderers.
This is probably my favorite uncommon in the set. I don't know if it's good, but I love it.
It was frequently like a 7/7 donkey, right? That would just rumble in and get blocked by like a 1/1 vampire token. But oftentimes it was enough to hold back their entire board because it has threat of activation with its artifact, or with its treasure tokens.
Yeah.
So it's expensive, it's slow, it's not terribly impressive on its own. It's never on its own. Basically, the pirate deck has enough accidental treasure that you're frequently playing this on turn 5 as a 5/5.
And you might oops into having a vehicle or one piece of equipment out.
Absolutely.
There's a shocking amount of like relevant artifacts in there, which for a set that isn't Kaladesh, which isn't like artifacts matter. You're just like, this guy gets pretty big pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would happily play these guys over and over again. The nightmare for this deck was the opponents having flyers. Because then you were forced to use your removal on kind of not great things. Opponent having an air elemental, well, obviously use removal on an air elemental. And then they put, there's this 4/2 dinosaur for 3.
Yeah.
That carries that 2/2 flying aura real well,
Yeah.
let me tell you what. When it's just like,
hit for 6 in the air.
yep, no.
You came up against Teamer Dinos. Interesting.
Yeah, no, it was bad. It was real bad. It hurt me.
I'm sorry to remind you. What was your promo rare?
My promo rare was Conqueror's Galleon. Maybe this thing is actually good, and hold on. Let me get my non-foil version that I also
No, we
opened.
got double Conqueror's Galleon. In the
Yeah.
Pirate deck, I don't know if you're obviously never obligated to play a card, but thematically, oh, this is very, very pretty.
Crew 4 is a hard ask.
Look at this foiling.
Oh, it's a gorgeous card.
Stunning. Like, they're not going to be able to see anything there, but ooh. And I like that you left it in the wrap. Very nice.
Yeah, like I think the idea with it. Well, let's open it.
Yeah. So it's a 210 for 4.
Yep.
With Crew 4.
Yep. That's a tall ask in the pirate deck.
So here's the other thing that's interesting. When it attacks, exile it at the end of combat, return it to the battlefield transformed under your control, and there's a flip side. It's not a May ability.
Nope.
If you decide you want to attack with it, you have to do that. And on the flip side, you have the Conqueror's Foothold, coincidentally where we're broadcasting from, that has a lot of text. It's basically a Planeswalker land.
Yeah. Tap to add colorless mana to your mana pool. 2 and tap, draw a card, then discard a card. 4 and tap, draw a card. 6 and tap, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Those are all really good abilities.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have been playing this, but I think this solves a problem that I don't want to have, which is the game is going long.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it might be an incidental mana dump for all the treasures you might oops into.
Yeah, the problem is that you are frequently tapping 2 creatures.
To Crew 4 is awkward in the aggro deck. I think,
and then you crew this and you flip it, and then you have a tapped land and 2 tapped creatures, and your opponent's like, cool, thanks, I'm coming over. Right, and you're like, I'm kind of busy right now, honestly, not being able to draw cards.
The best interaction I heard from this is our friend Allison opened that as well as the uncommon green-white dinosaur. I wish I could remember the name. It's a 6-mana dino. Maybe it's like a 7-mana dino.
Inflicts, where all creatures you control inflict damage with their toughness instead of their
for
power.
4/6, and it has the Doran ability.
Yeah, see,
and
that
so
would have been amazing.
She plays the Conqueror's Galleon on turn 4. Turn 5 plays the Dino. The Dino coincidentally has 4 power, so it can crew the Galleon. Galleon cracks you for 10. That's so
spicy.
cool.
That's
super
so
spicy. Cool. At
that
first,
would have been awesome if I'd been able to do that. That would have felt really good. But instead, here I am tapping 3 pirates like a chump to get rid of 4 creatures. Maybe I'll draw a card next turn.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be dead. So that was kind of my experience. My favorite game was the one where I would crack in with my pirates and my opponent would block all of them with 1/1 life-linking vampires, go up 4 life on my attack step, and then attack back with a bunch of 2/2s in the air that I couldn't block anyway. And then play out more life-linking vampires, and I'm like, just kill me. And they're like, I'm trying, I'm doing my best, but it's going to be like 7 more turns, dude.
Yeah. Oh, do you have somewhere to be? Because I'm getting there.
Yeah, like there's nothing you can do about it. You've already played your 1 removal spell.
Yeah,
And
you're welcome to scoop.
I suppose if I had Conqueror's Foothold, I would have been able to get back my 1 removal spell in my deck. More the fool me.
That card's so pretty.
It really is. It's gorgeous. I'm just, It was, I felt it was closer than,
So we're talking about the Belligerent Brontodon, which is a 7-mana 4/6, 5 green-white for a 4, And each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Important to note that it doesn't actually change its power, so you can't crew 6 or something like that. It still has a power of 4. It just lets you punch with its butt. Talking about a lot of butt stuff today.
I mean, not outside the norm, really.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway, Serge, why don't you tell us about what your day was like?
So I had a different pre-release experience to Cam.
It's very diplomatic.
I actually went undefeated, and I split the prizes for first. So I went 4-0-1, and I made Stompy Dinosaurs, not because I wanted to, but because that was what the cards dealt. So I'm actually only playing 2 rares. One is the one I opened as my promo foil, which is the Repeating Barrage. And let me just say that this card is insane.
This seems miserable in Limited, where removal is at a premium.
Yeah, you look at this and you're like, this is kind of good. I stabilized a game where I was at 2 life with this card. So
Yeah.
it turns out I won actually 2 games off of it in a single creature, because you cast it pre-combat, either killing their creature or to the dome if there's an empty board, attack, and then pay 5 to return it raid. If you
Yeah.
have 8 mana and a creature, the game is basically over.
Yeah.
And that's kind of weird, because we've played this and we think it's rather fast, but I had it twice where this just won games. And actually, the game that I was at too, I was mentioning this before, if my opponent had cast any creature with haste, for example, like our little friend the Nest Robber, I would have been super dead.
Right, right. But like, interesting point about this format being fast and feeling fast. And it is in the form of time, not in the form of turns.
Yeah.
This is coming from a guy who tied his game 1. But like, this format's really weird because the games end relatively quickly and decisively, but not because it was over by turn 4.
Yeah.
It's just because the
mechanics are straightforward. And
It's-
I think the decision making is fairly clean, so you don't spend a lot of time.
This
just
isn't
like,
battle cruiser magic, nor is it aggressive magic. It's decisive magic.
I think I went in the tank once the entire time, and most turns are fairly straightforward. You're like, oh, raid. I know I have to attack first.
Yeah.
So like that's pretty.
kudos to R&D on this one. I think
The set is a lot of fun, and I didn't think again like. I'm not the type of person who goes into an event and I'm just like, I'm going to play this or force this. I tend to be very receptive into what the cards give to me. And I didn't think it would be this deck. And I tried really hard to not play this deck. I looked at all my other colors. I didn't open a single white card until my 3rd pack.
wow.
Which was just unlikely.
Right.
And also, so the only other rare I had in this deck was the Emperor's Vanguard, which wasn't even on my radar. So it's a 4-mana 4/3 for 3 and a green. When it deals combat damage to a player, it explores.
This is also a way I like to see explore.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. It's costed aggressively, like it has the power and toughness you'd want for what it comes into play with, and it has relevant ability. This card did nothing.
Really?
This card apparently is so threatening it dies immediately. Also,
Really?
having 3 toughness makes it vulnerable to a lot of removal.
Well, Lightning Strike is in this set.
Yeah, so it 8 removal. My experience with this card is it 8 removal, which is fine. So effectively, I had a single rare deck, which is the Repeating Barrage. Otherwise, I just had I had some fine removal. In particular, something that really worked well for me is the fight cards. So I had a single copy of Pounce and a single copy of, where did it go? Savage Stomp. And by the way, Savage Stomp is great. Not only is it great because it's really good removal, but this is how I want to see a tribal synergy go. Like the Dinosaurs Matters fact on this, the card is fine by itself and it just instantly levels up. Not only because the dinosaur mechanic goes down, but the +1/+1 is very, very relevant. And also because of Enrage. Like this card fits in every way you want it to with the mechanic. Your creatures are often bigger, so fight is the kind of removal you want. It makes your creature bigger and it triggers Enrage. So the fight removal I found was even better than some of the burn spells in this deck because it just did what it wanted to do. And for my Enrage targets, I had 2 relevant ones. I had the Sun-Crowned Hunter, which is a 6-mana 5/4 for 4 red. Enrage, when it takes damage, it deals 3 damage to an opponent. And then I had the Snapping Sailback, which is a 5-mana 4/4 with Flash for 4 and a green. Enrage, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And these cards, one is a common and the other is an uncommon, won me almost all of my games. I had like a fine curve going up to there. I had some raid. I had a little bit of ramp. I was playing 2 copies of New Horizon, mostly because I was trying to ramp up into these like...
Yeah, who would have thought Utopia Sprawl needed an upgrade?
Right? There were a couple times where I awkwardly played this on turn 3 with no creature on my board, because notably I only had 2 2-drops in the whole deck, which were the Ixlaki's Keeper? Ixali Keeper, and another unpronounceable word, Tilonali's Knight, both of which are bears with upside. So when I looked at this list, I was just like, okay, I have probably a 3-2 list. Like I don't look at this because you look at the cards like we opened the Regisaur Alpha, the Raging Swordtooth. There are such good commons and uncommons in this set that make this list nuts. I mean, this list is also intended to be Naya. So there's a 2-mana uncommon card that makes your dinosaurs cheaper and gives them haste. And there's a 1-mana white card, an 0/3 for solid white, that also discounts dinosaurs. Like those are, when you imagine this deck, and when you picture the 5 list that takes down the pre-release, you're picturing like the elbow drop nut Naya dinosaur list. And this wasn't it. But like we're saying before, if you don't have the bombs, you just go for you just go for something solid and something fast. And I managed to put together just like a solid mid-range dinosaur list that had the right amount of removal.
Yeah.
I think the second thing that happened was I probably got really good matchups. I went in the dinosaur mirror basically every time.
Really?
Yeah, and the slightly faster dinosaur deck, I just had bigger threats in the late game or just enough removal. So if you're playing the 3/2 dinosaur, all of a sudden my the 3/2 we opened earlier, what was it called? Pardon me. If you have, for example, the Ravenous Daggertooth, which is a 3-mana 3/2, and you're being this very aggressive dinosaur deck, you open yourself up for the Stormfleet Pyromancer, which is a 5-mana 3/2 with Raid, deal 2 damage to target creature or player. And a number of times I managed to take out those key pieces of dinosaur infrastructure.
Yeah, yeah.
Those building blocks, and just sort of keep them off with these small pieces of timely removal. Yeah, I was not expecting to win. I mean, I didn't 5-0 because I offered the split, but
Was this guy the one you're thinking?
yeah, the Optipec.
Optipec?
Thank you. I'll just let you pronounce the cards. The Huntsmaster is a 1/2 for 1 and a red. Dinosaur spells cost 1 generic less to cast.
These
and
scare me so much.
like this is, yeah, and target dinosaur gains haste until end of turn. This is what you picture when you picture the dinosaur tribal deck, these great things where I just had a really solid mid-range deck with some removal.
Like, this into Monstrosaur on turn 4 is terrifying.
No, of course, right? So I think what this green-red dinosaur deck does is sort of, and again, kudos to R&D for it, is if the default deck you get pointed to is just like a solid mid-range deck where you have a couple of combat tricks and you're incentivized to turn creatures sideways, then I think we're doing great.
Yeah, where it's like 21 creatures and 2 combat tricks is actually like a 5-0 deck.
Yeah, but I never ran into any of the go-wide strategies. So if I was up against like a white-based vampire token deck, I don't know if I would have done as well, because I have spot removal and I have big dorks. So I got blown out a couple times by combat tricks against a large creature when my small creatures had to double block.
Right.
So any type of like good removal or some of the threats that the white-based decks could have done would have great. I mean, other than a white splash for dinosaurs decks, I didn't really play against white. I don't think I played against a single blue player all day. I didn't encounter pirates. So I think some of the credit has to be and accounted to just like dodging my bad matchups, which is kind of lucky too.
I don't know. This seems like a very strong deck.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'll be sure to, once this is done, I'm sure Cam and I will both try and put our deck list in the comments down below so people can take a peek and either commiserate or add some extra details there.
Cam, in hindsight, do you think there's any other deck you could have made with your pool?
Well, like,
Ooh.
naturally when you're going like 1 and 2 and your friends over at the 5-0 table come over and they're like, well, let's see your pool.
How many lands you play?
Yeah. Because I've 5-0'd these things.
Yeah.
And our friend Blake came over and looked at my pool and he's like, well, you've got Ryle and you've got Ryle. You've got...
I don't think Ryle is a card that gets you into red. You don't see Ryle, you're like, man, I got to play red right now.
Well, like, he was like, okay, look at your red pool. You've got Fire Cannon Blast. You've got Tilinali's Skin Shifter. You've got Charging Monstrosaur. And you've got...
Charging Monstrosaur is so good. You're just like, hey, you want to get hit by a lava axe every turn?
Yeah. And he's like, okay, so you have 3 good red cards. And then, but look at your green. You've got like Ixalan's Keeper. That's totally reasonable. You've got Commune with Dinosaurs. You want to be playing that in the dinosaur deck. You've got another Ixalan's Keeper. You've got Spike-tailed Ceratops. Colossal Dreadmaw. And 2 Pounce.
So what we're hearing,
like Pounce is good.
What we're
Pounce
hearing
good,
is
right?
you made the right pick. This is the tough thing too. Like
I think like 2 or 3 more playables in the dinosaur deck would have been quite strong.
It's hard when you're evaluating cards and when you want to jump into one. Is just like is this worth splashing for? Because there's a very real cost associated with adding another color, which is you just get bricked some games.
Yeah.
Like variants will kick in and you'll just lose. So my strategy is always a medium 2-color deck is probably better than a slightly better 3-color deck, unless you just like you've been gifted fixing.
Yeah, I agree. And then like my white also had like 3 good cards in it, right? Where I had, where are they? Priest of the Awakening Sun is totally fine.
Which one is this?
It's a 1-mana 1/1.
yeah.
And what it does is it says like gain 8 life over the course of the next 4 turns as you reveal the very same 6-drop creature that's going to kill your opponent to them.
It just gives them a nice sense of inevitability, right?
Yeah, you're like, hey, do you remember I've got this thing that's going to kill you in 5 turns?
Still
Did
here.
you? It's still here? Okay, you're not going to do anything about it, right? All right. I'm going to gain some life off of that.
That card's nuts. Wow.
Yeah. It's
And
very
you can
good.
sack it to find a dinosaur?
Yep.
So you sort of had you had the components of like 3 pretty good decks, but
Yeah.
not enough to make any of them.
That's
Like-
super hard sometimes, though,
Yeah.
where your pool is split. I was actually lucky in the fact that I didn't open any white cards.
It's like it's like somebody who was very bad at drafted your.
Yeah, and got like all these amazing cards across 5 colors.
It's like, you just rare drafted, didn't you? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. One of
And
the
sort of like-
greatest things I heard at the draft,
Kinjali's Collar, that's also a very good card.
dinosaur thing. One of the greatest things I heard at the draft today was, hey, why don't I try 5-color? I hope I draw my lands.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, that's just the most honest thing I've heard.
Yeah. Like, this guy's the 3-mana 2 or the 2-mana 3/1 in white. Every set has one of these guys, but this guy has
Yeah.
some synergies, right? Territorial Hammerskull actually puts in a lot of work.
Hammer Skull is really cool. If you like that 2/2 merfolk that taps people when it comes into play, how about every time you attack?
How about not the flying dinosaur that you first think it is when you look at this card in white? Because
card?
there's also another flying dinosaur in white that makes something else fly when it attacks,
Oh, interesting.
I think.
Huh.
It's an uncommon. It's not this guy.
Huh.
I looked at this guy, I was like, oh, this guy, oh.
Isn't this a reprint of like a griffin?
Basically.
Okay.
It's, it's a fairly common body, and then slash talons for when you have to enrage an opponent's creature. What I should have actually found room for was another 5-drop in my
This seems
pirate deck,
This seems really strong.
because the white splash was not as big an obstacle as I was thinking it was going to be.
Vona,
There's
Butcher of the
sometimes,
Magan.
yeah, like there were frequently games where I'm sitting on 7 treasure tokens.
Wishing you had stuff.
Yeah.
So Vona, Butcher of the Magan is a 4/4 for 5 mana, so 3 white/black. It has Vigilance and Lifelink, and tap, pay 7 life, destroy target non-land permanent. Activate this ability. Interesting. It says activate this ability only during your turn.
Yeah.
However, not at sorcery speed.
Yeah.
So you can activate it as an instant, provided somebody tries to do some weird tomfoolery.
Yeah, exactly. So you can attack with it because she has vigilance, and then if your opponent is like block with a 3/3, give it a combat trick. You can be like, no, I don't think so. I guess I won't gain life.
That's interesting. That's a
Yeah.
good card. I didn't even know that card was in the set. I probably should have done a better job looking at the spoilers. I mean, I tend to...
That's the one, Imperial Aerosaur. Thank you,
Oh,
Paul.
interesting. When Imperial Aerosaur is a 3-mana...
Oh, it's when it enters the battlefield.
Yeah, 4-mana 3/3 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 in flying until end of turn. Neat. It kind of looks like it's falling out of the sky. Like that I could actually picture that as the art for Plummet.
Yeah. I mean, it's got something in its claws.
That person's having a bad day.
Yeah, well, not for long. Like, I think I probably, like, I just didn't... The problem with the Naya Dinosaur deck is all the good fixing is in Pirates.
Yeah, you didn't open 3 New Horizons or whatever?
No, I probably had about 15 playables across the Naya colors in any 2-color pair.
Oh, so...
I mean, I had Commune with Dinosaurs,
That's not really fixing, though.
Yeah, because you want to be finding bombs with it.
Yeah, I mean, Communal Dinosaurs is a 1-mana sorcery that you look through 5 cards and either reveal a dinosaur or land and put it into your hand. It's good, and we had discussions about it at the pre-release as well. Like, it's totally fine in a 3-color deck. It could fix you, but it's unreliable. It relies on chance.
Yeah.
So it can dig you cards, and you probably want to play it in the dinosaur deck, but I don't think you can count on it. Like, if you were for sure in the 3-color deck, you would play it, but I don't think it's the difference maker between going a 3rd color or not.
Yeah. See, if I've been thinking, the blue instant Griptide would have been great in response to this. Put something on top.
Sure, yeah. Again, just another way. It's like, well, you could reveal it as one of the cards you have.
Yeah.
So one experience I had at the pre-release today was my opponent resolved, how do I pronounce the red-white planeswalker's name?
Huatli?
Huatli. So it's 5 mana, 3 red-white, comes into play with 3 loyalty, and obviously has a number of abilities, but most relevant to this talking point is the -X ability, which says, spend any amount of loyalty up to X, X being the maximum loyalty you can spend, divided as you choose amongst any number of creatures, and notably, those creatures can't block. And so I had an opponent who cast that and had lethal on the board, provided that they made it so that all of my creatures couldn't block.
Right.
And didn't see it because there's so much text on this card. And I suppose if the one takeaway from any pre-release is there's a lot of new cards. And even even as I'm reacting to the cards you see there, you might not be familiar with what all of them do. So take that extra second, because there's a chance, victory is right there, and just being a little bit more familiar with what you have is the difference between winning or not.
Actually, interesting question, maybe to end the podcast on.
Sure.
When is it ever right to plus Huatli?
On an empty board.
Okay.
I mean, I think
like on an empty board, isn't a 3/3 just better than 2 extra life?
Shoot.
Like, that seems like the definitive time when a 3/3 is good.
No, you're probably right on that case. When do you plus her?
Like, I don't think you're playing her in a deck where, like, instances of life gain matter. Is there any instance of life gain in this? Life gain matters in this format?
So there's obviously a state where you want to use her minus ability.
Sorry, yes. Huatli Warrior Poet is a 5-mana planeswalker, 3 red-white. She has 3 loyalty. Her first ability reads +2. You gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control.
Oh, of course you don't want to play it on an empty board. I thought it was just gain +2 life. That's maybe different.
Sorry, I mean, the conclusion that a friend and I came to was that you plus her when you need to -X her for more next turn.
Yeah. Right? You can see so many situations where in previous turns you're like, I wish I had plussed her. I mean, there's got to be a threshold. If you're worried about burn, if you're dying to flying creatures.
Yeah.
If
you're dying to flying creatures, then yes, definitely. Actually, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. So I originally was very critical of this card. I thought, 3 loyalty for 5 mana things and the abilities aren't nuts. And then everyone I've talked to has been like, no, Huatli does everything. Like her kit answers everything you want it to. It gains you life if you need to. The empty board comment doesn't make any sense because it's gain life equal to the greatest power amongst creatures you control. Right. So if there's nothing, then obviously it does nothing. You just +2 and do nothing.
I think I was confusing it as well with what was it?
There's like a Johnny's that had traditionally given you +2 life when you plus it.
Yeah, I think there was a Nissa a little while ago that did something similar.
Sure. So this card, I mean, obviously, if you open any Planeswalker in a pre-release, you're laughing and you're probably going to do quite well. Oh. I don't know. That's sort of my thought. Oh, go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, do you think in terms of using the abilities and stuff with that creatures can't block? Like, do you think the primary use for that -X ability is to go wide on it and just ping every single one of their creatures and then punch?
I would maybe if there's so for example, some of the creatures like the Keeper. The creatures that have these massive mana sinks and their abilities can be massive game changers at the end of the game, I think it's very rare that you're going to use Huatli as spot removal. Instead, I think what she does is she sets up an Alpha Strike, where you're in white-red. Presumably, you're probably. in my experience, I've seen her in aggressive like dinosaur decks, but that doesn't mean you won't splash for it in somewhere else. But you have a couple of large creatures in there, and so you're just setting it up to end the game. You're like, your 3 relevant creatures can't block. Combat math is now awful. I also have something like it. You will minus her when the game is done.
Yeah, like I feel like you're almost always blowing off all the counters on her.
Yeah,
and then
You don't like
even
unless there is like one little dude that you need to kill for whatever reason.
yeah, and then you can also spend some of those to enrage your own dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
If you had the white 3/5 that buffs your whole team, you could be like, you can't block, ping my person, buff my whole team, swing for lethal. That would be interesting. Just doing the math on that one, you're like, okay.
Yeah. I think Watley is a really good card. Obviously, like Planeswalkers, but I think she's really interesting in this limited environment. But yeah, that would be when you'd want to plus her, when you were dying to creatures you can't interact with.
Yeah.
Good call.
I guess you plus her up to the point where you can minus X and kill that
And then
creature.
win. Yeah. And I think that's just encouraging your opponent to play more aggressively as well, because they can see the inevitability and be like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm just going to die here.
Yeah. Like, and at that point, are they going to attack Watley or are they going to attack you? Especially if you're playing like the Naya dinosaur deck and you've just gained 6 life off Watley.
Yeah. You know.
It's true. There's a nice synergy there where, if you're sitting there in a bad board state, but you've got, something around that you can gain some life off of, then you can just kind of sit there. She's gaining life. She's giving you life, giving herself loyalty counters. So if your opponent is attacking the Planeswalker, she's getting bigger.
Yeah.
So you've got like a pretty good stall there while you can figure out the rest of your stuff.
And building towards inevitability.
Right.
You're obviously gaining life off a creature of some substance. Hence the plus, but that's fine. I don't know, that's sort of like all the thoughts I had on this before diving down a massive other topic rabbit hole or something.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I had a lot of fun, even in spite of getting crushed. I felt like a lot of my games were quite close. I'm sure my opponents had very different opinions on the matter. They're like, yeah, he didn't stand a chance. I was like thinking about what I was ordering for lunch.
Yeah, I had some of the most fun playing limited that I've had in a very long time. I had so much fun at this pre-release.
Yeah.
You're talking about the idea that the games are going, longish or the regular length of games. But there's actually more turns in that is quite interesting.
It's just fun to play. Some mechanics.
The turns. I mean, other than the whatever. If you're trying to calculate out how all your monsters are going to get bigger, but
yeah, some mechanics just aren't fun, which is obviously not great to say. Or so, for example, my brain can't figure out how morph works. So when we were in cons and I was trying to play morph, I was always miserable. I'm like, I'm doing this wrong. My opponents managed to always play a 3-drop and then flip it into a 12/12 for 7 and completely blow me out. But every time I do it, it's a 2/1 and I suck.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I just didn't understand how morph worked. I didn't know how to build a deck with morph in it. Where are these 3-drops? Are these not 3-drops? Are they higher? It was just a mechanic that just didn't make sense, and I didn't have fun playing with it. I didn't have fun playing against it. I didn't like that hidden information. I like hidden information in the hand or mechanic. And just for whatever reason, I just...
There's something to be said for a set and mechanics that are set up so that they can so that you get these little sort of combos and synergies together. In some ways, it just kind of, and it makes you as the player feel really smart for aha, I did the thing. I put but rather than having to work out some sort of ridiculously convoluted turn, just these little things being yes, I'm cool, I'm good, I know what I'm doing. I rocketed this game.
It is a very rewarding format to play.
Yeah, and an example of something I found that was not rewarding was actually Avacyn Restored. The miracle mechanic was just hey, you like variants? How about we just add massive swings to the game where out of nowhere you rip a top deck and you're like, bonfire!
Yeah.
And in that case, I never felt rewarded for drawing it, and I never felt satisfying ends to games.
Yeah, it was just oops, the game is over.
Yeah. And
I just entreated the Angels for like 6.
yeah, so
So
again, like fun mechanics and sitting down at a pre-release that I'm just like, I'm excited. I'm not a limited player. I'm a constructed player. I'm a Highlander player. That's like my entire collection has been refined to this singleton monster, and I want to play more Ixalan Limited.
yeah, I'm in
I-
for yeah. If you've got Ixalan packs, drop me a line. I'll be over.
Which, yeah, by the way, depending on when this comes out, but we will be doing Ixalan drafting
Ooh.
on Friday.
So
Yeah, we are.
Should be good.
It's going to be awesome. All right, so I think that about does it for Tap Tap Concede for this week. Once again, this podcast is brought to you by you, the viewers. You're very generous, and we appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for making this possible. And by our very kind sponsors over at CardKingdom.com. CardKingdom.com. Pay them so they pay us. They have all the they'll ship you singles if you're in the continental, or if you're in the United States, they'll ship you sealed product. I think they can also ship like D&D, other games.
other nerd swag.
Yeah,
I mean, they do have all that other board gamey stuff.
Yeah.
Delicious board games. Delicious.
If you're in Seattle, check out their brick and mortar stores. They've got
they're so
like
cool.
cafes. They've usually got like their baristas are pretty good. They pull a decent shot, and their food is really good. It's just a really chill environment. You know, if you've ever thought about like, you've been in your store and it's kind of dank.
Kind of reminding you of a ham locker.
Yeah. If you're sitting in your LGS vaping nerd, and you think to yourself, this could be so much better, you owe it to yourself to check out Mock's Boarding House, because it's everything you wish your own clubhouse would have. It's honestly great. We really like them. They like us. We hope they continue to like us. So until next week, I'm Cameron,
I'm Serge.
and yeah, keep opening hot.
Thank you.